Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sani, a student of English Language Education. So today I would like to present my proposal entitled Multiple Relationship Among Reading Habits, Reading Motivation, and Reading Competency in the Junior Secondary School. So let's move to the first one, that is research background. So when we talk about reading in Indonesia, it's one of the things that need to be improved. According to the result of PISA, it shows that Indonesian students who were really good readers in Indonesian standard were positioned in the 54 and 62 in the bottom rank, according to PISA 2012 and 2015. So the students' reading deficiency was due to the inability to do high-order thinking items, or they did not possess critical thinking skill as yet. When observing one of the school in Indonesia, most of the student reading competency in SMP Negeri 1 Sidaman need to be improved by reasoning of less motivation to read, and also they are not familiar to read in particular time as yet. So, the student of SMP Negeri 1 Sidaman had difficulty in their reading competency, which causes by their reading habits and reading motivation. So let's move to the next one, that is research question. So there are two research questions. The first is, what are the student reading habits, reading motivation, and their reading competency on various English descriptive text type in the junior secondary school, especially at SMP Negeri 1 Sidaman. The second one is there any significant multiple relationship of the student reading habits and reading motivation with their reading competency and various English descriptive text type in SMP Negeri 1 Sidaman. The next one is research objective. So generally, the research objective is to describe and relate. And then for specifically, the first is describing the 7th grade student reading habits. The second one is describing the 7th grade student reading motivation. The third one is describing the 7th grade student reading competency. And the last is relating multiple relationship of the three variables. So for the research scope, the present research was delimited to the descriptive type of person, animal, place, and object of the first semester of academic year 2019-2020 in the junior secondary school, especially in SMP Negeri 1 Sidaman. So in theoretical reviews, there are some key terms, namely reading habits. Reading first. The second one is reading habits. The third one is reading motivation. The next one is reading competency. And the last is the relationship between reading habits, reading motivation, and reading competency. So the next is for empirical review. In empirical review, there are 5 previous studies in years 2015 until 2017, which shows significant correlation of reading habits, reading motivation, and reading comprehension. However, the present research applies a multiple correlation or relationship of the combined predictor variables, the student reading habits, and motivation, with the criterion variable, the student reading competency, based on the 2030 curriculum. The research design could be said as a novel, since the two predictors variables are related to the criterion variable, especially the student reading competency. So, for research hypothesis in this study, there are two. The first is the student reading habits, reading motivation, and their reading competency and various English texts are relatively good. The second one is there is a multiple significant relationship of the linear combination of the student reading habits and reading motivation to their reading competency in the junior secondary school, especially in SMP Negeri 1 Sidaman. So the next is for research population, sample and sampling. So in this study, there are 239 students, and as the population, And then for the sample, there are 55 students which come from two classes, poor and good readers, and with use sampling purpose. And for the research design that use quantitative, especially correlation design. And then for the research variable, for the first is there are predictor variables. The predictor variables are reading habits and reading motivation, while the criterion variable is reading competency. For research instruments, so there are three based on the previous research question. The first is reading habits questionnaire, and then the second one is reading motivation questionnaire, and the last one is reading competency task. And then for data collection process, the first is to find out the reading habits, and then the second one is reading motivation, and the last one is for knowing the reading competency. And then for data analysis method that use a measure of central tendency, and then the last is multiple relationship. Well, that's it from the information or the presentation about my proposal. Thank you.